So now that I'm home and not in a bathroom, I can kind of be more detailed about what happened today and what made me like such a wreck. But it was like such a busy day from the time I got there till the time I left. I don't think he got a break. Brenton got a break from anything. Before I even got there, he'd had a platelet transfusion this morning, another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. He has not had a meal since last Monday, so 8 days. He's still, when he gets out of bed, feeling like he's going to vomit or retching. He's had a fever, negligible. Like today, I think it was like 100.8, and they say 100.4 is what they count. So because he's had a fever for over 7 days straight, whatever, they're now trying to find out, could it be a fungal infection? In order to do so, they had to do the nasal scoping, a CT, and an ultrasound, which took all day long. We were doing this. And then he had to get a blood transfusion on top of all of that. They changed his fungal IV medication that they were giving him to a stronger one, which goes through the kidneys, which they had to be careful with because when he got up there, he was septic. And one of the reasons they sent him up there was they were worried that he would go into septic shock, which was due to the way his renal functioning was and testing was at the time. So we were dealing with a lot of that. Really, one of the main or almost main reasons why he's still on the ICU is because of the amount of oxygen that he's on. He keeps desatting or not being able to breathe, in layman's terms. When they put the oxygen down, he's on a high flow nasal cannula, which goes over his nose, but is bigger than like the little ones you see on TV shows or movies. And it's controlled by two different things: the little wall ball that they turn up to like 8, or whatever, plus something that mixes room air and oxygen, pushes it through quickly. And anytime they try to turn it down, he goes from 100 to 90 to 83. And you just hear beeping all day long, phone calls all day long, beeping all day long, people in and out all day long. And I'm an emotional wreck. In front of him, I'm as strong as can be because I don't want him to know that I'm, basically, he needs someone to be strong for him right now, and I need to be that person. I got home and he texted me. And mind you, I have been up there all day. I just got home. It's nighttime. And he texted me like, I'm done. And I said, well, explain that to me. And, he's like, I just want out of here. I want to be fixed. And I said, if you didn't feel that way, I would be worried because that is a totally normal and valid feeling. And I explained to him that if I could be completely honest, I know I have to be the strong one in this situation. And I know that I'm always there for him, and he needs to know that I'm always there for him. But that I feel guilty because I oftentimes go home and I cry because as a mother, you want to be able to help your baby, and to be in a situation where you're completely helpless. You can't even, make him stop vomiting after 8 days, and they can't tell you why. And, your baby looks at you and he says, just make it stop. Why can't someone just make it stop? And you can't. It's really, really hard. And then I still have another child at home. It's not like I can just stay there and be there forever, which you want to do. But I have to come home and take care of another child, which I also want to do. And I have to split my time. And that's not even taking care of myself. I, there has to be some time in there for me to do things like this morning. I had to get my oil changed because the check oil light was on, so I had to do that. But any moment that I'm not with one of them or doing something that I know is essential, I'm feeling guilt. So I had to go to the psychiatrist there at the hospital today and just cry. And I cried all the way home. And the psychiatrist said that she thinks the reason why I feel this way is because since he was diagnosed with cancer, that first week, that first 5 days that he stayed in, I was feeling this way, going through kind of a grieving process, fear of the unknown, anger of why did this happen to him, uh, guilt of, why didn't I take better care of him? Or maybe if I hadn't done something differently, this wouldn't have happened, remorse for not being a better mother and spending more time with him, like all these different feelings. And she said that the reason why I might be feeling that way now is because this is the first major time since that event that he has been in the hospital and seriously sick. So, she thinks that's the reason that this is being triggered. And I think that's probably true, along with lack of sleep and just being a mom and worrying about your kids, which I think probably any mother would do in this situation. So it's really, really stressful. And in one of my other videos, I was talking about how I can't just say, I shouldn't just say when people say, how are you doing? Or how are things going in this situation? Just okay. Or when everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're so strong. I don't know how you get through it. I need to actually try to be more honest and say, well, it's really hard. Or, I'm really struggling, but, I'm just doing the best I can do, because it's a lie if I'm saying I'm getting through it. It's so easy. Yeah, and easy breezy. Everything's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine at all. Um, but I am doing it and I'm getting through it because I have to get through it. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've kind of hit a wall. He's hit a little bit of a wall. Speed bump is what the psychiatrist said. It's a speed bump. You have to slow down, you hit it, and then, you get over it. She also said, because I said, look, I feel like I'm getting treated with the kid gloves because I'm at a kid hospital where they're like, you're fine, everything's going to be fine. But it's not fine when he has had anything to eat for 8 days. Sorry, the camera's shaking because off camera, I'm making all kinds of hand gestures over here. But it's not fine when he's in the ICU for 5 days. Sickest of sick people go to the ICU. Healthy people don't go to the ICU. And healthy people don't have 9 million procedures happening per day. And healthy people don't have a fever for 8 days straight and multiple CAT scans and so on and so forth. But she said to me, look, if something is really terribly wrong, they're going to tell you. And not only that, but she said not to make your feelings invalid, but we see a lot of kids that are way sicker than yours and they do all right. They're okay. So when we say it's okay, he's going to be okay, it's because they truly believe it. So that's all I have to go off of now. Also, right before he left, we did have a pastor come up and we took Eucharist together and prayed. And that's the first time that I think he's had any experience with praying in a really long time. And so I really was glad that he did that with me. And I also think that spiritually, I needed that for sure. And I hope it was helpful to him as well. I'm going to sign off because this is like almost a 10-minute long video. And at this point, I'm just rambling. And probably most of anyone that's actually watched any of my videos has long ago stopped listening to this. So anyway, thank you guys for letting me vent, rant, and if you're listening still, God bless you. Have a good evening. Thanks.